Hello everyone, this is a quick video describing how to integrate LITE into your curriculum, into your class, and how to use it along with the scenario. And this is an example of how I did it in my university classroom. So the first thing, of course, you register with the students. Once registered, I usually start with my plurilingual journey. So take the students there to set up their profiles. And I usually, what I've done is embedded it into the curriculum, right? So there'll be, let's say 5% of their course mark for all of the use of the scenario in LITE. So this will be based on completion, right? So posting pictures, including text, describing their language journeys and their encounters. So that's a good kind of place to start, and that seems to be the students really enjoy posting about that, and then learning about each other, right? So the next step after that is that I'll go to my class, the community, and you can see the scenarios, the different profiles here, my class. Okay, and what I'll get everyone to do is follow each other in the class and then send messages. So look at each other's profiles, read the descriptions and the stories, and then choose a few friends or a few students to send a message to, and comment on their profile or on their story or anything that they want, and that gives them a good kind of forum to interact, you know, if they want on LITE through the messaging function. So the next thing then is to, before the scenario, be to do a global level check. So we'll take the students there. This could be in the next classroom session or the next online session if you're teaching online. And a lot of these things can also be given for homework. You see with the global level check that there's kind of 7 sections. So it can get rather long. And there's descriptors in the global level check across the CFR level. So from pre-A1 to C2. So once you get, for example, in listening, once you get down to the last descriptors, sometimes they may be rather long and they may be difficult for some learners to understand. So I encourage my students to use Google Translate just to get the gist if they don't understand the sentence, because it is in English as well. But again, as you can see on the tutorial videos, they choose the language that they're assessing. They go through all the steps, all the can-do statements, and then they'll get their global level check at the end. So again, this can be something that you can use to fill up some class time. Students may ask you questions about some of the terminology, or you can set it for homework. So this is an example of what they'll see on the global check. And then that kind of tells them what level they should be assessing on the level check, which is the next thing, right? So, for example, if I'm looking at my Italian here, I'm fully at the C2 level, right? So then I would, in the level check, which is maybe step 4, do a level check. I would then choose C2 as my level for the level check. So what the global level check does is it allows the students to kind of see their overall level, and then they can kind of zero in and focus on a specific level. So again, I choose the level here and the language, and then I complete a similar can-do kind of quiz. What I did notice in my class is that I did these back to back, the global level check and then the level check, and that they seem to be a little bit overwhelmed with that. So because there's a lot of questions and things. So I'd recommend doing them in 2 separate sessions, or doing one, in class and one for homework, to reduce the kind of fatigue there. But then my level check will be produced here, right? So I didn't actually do a C2, but here's, for example, if I did pre-A1. So this shows me my confidence levels and my can-do statements in that specific level, right? So you have the 2 level checks, one with the kind of bird's eye view zooming out, and then the second kind of zooming in. So that's the kind of activities that we do before the scenario. And then we will choose a scenario. Of course, I would choose the scenario before running the whole task with the students. Again, you can see the available scenarios here by level. And then you can also look at the section of my scenarios, the ones that you've started in the system. So I'll just show you, this is the class that I'm doing at the moment, the time machine. So I can continue with that. And again, that takes me step by step through the scenario and all the different steps. Okay, and then it ends again with another can-do quiz. And this one is focused on the specific outcomes for the scenario, whereas the level checks are more, again, they're more global kind of proficiencies, but the kinds of, built into this scenario, what are the learning outcomes? So they'll be able to do a can-do quiz there at the end. And also during the scenario, there's maybe certain steps where they describe that, you can post something or write something. And so anytime that comes up in one of the steps, you can bring the learners to make a post. So the post function is kind of what we can do during a scenario, and especially in the last step of the scenario, in the culminating task, they often have to create some kind of artifact. So again, they can make a post here with media, pictures, texts, and things, and the larger files down at the bottom for videos and things of that nature. And then they can see their posts under My Posts, collect their best work, manage their posts if they want to edit or delete, and then they can see everyone's posts in the system on this page here. So what I got my students to do is, as a kind of culminating task for the time machine, was to write one thing that they enjoyed about the scenario and using LITE, one thing that they had difficulties with, that they think that that could be improved. So you can kind of, use the posts in different ways, again, to create some kind of artifacts or some writing in the class based on the scenario, right? So that's, and then I got them to comment on each other's posts in here as well. So again, having an interactive space with the post is also very helpful. And then at the end of the scenario, once we've done the can-do quiz, we'll then bring the students to the reflections. So do a reflection, and again, this is inspired by the medicine wheel, looking at holistic reflections, so not only related to the mind, but also community, emotions, and actions. So holistic learning, not only cognitive learning perhaps. And the questions will be the same, but reflecting on the experience of the scenario, the students will fill in these questions. There's an open-ended question at the end, okay, talking about their experience and their learning across those 4 dimensions. And then again, once you complete a reflection, you'll get a donut chart that's produced on the My Reflections page based on the confidence of those sliding bars for each question under the reflections, right? So it's a good way to kind of wrap up a scenario that you use on LITE. And then if the students, depending on, could be through the term or after the scenario, you want to bring them back to do a level check. So to see if they're, across different proficiencies, if their confidence has grown after the scenario. So that would work great. Also, beginning and also at the end of a scenario. And you could do maybe a global level check at the end of a term. So you could maybe again check back in. And then for teachers, just in closing, we have the resource How to Use LITE. So make sure you check out the orientation videos. We have some frequently asked questions and then some examples of student works and videos from past classes. And then also the resources, anytime, especially we're looking for lesson plans, we have the scenario templates here. So you can check out a lot of different resources, the descriptors, and then resources around assessment, training, presentations, and other readings. But especially this will be vital for teachers to, after selecting a task, you can also look at the scenario list here and the descriptions to help you select. And then you can find a kind of detailed lesson plan that you can also fill in and adapt in the resources. So that's kind of how I integrate LITE into my use of the linked art scenarios. I hope this was helpful to you. And again, you could adapt it in any way depending on your context, depending on your students.